And joining me today is Jay Lemelin and Amy Bartels. Jay, a longtime official in the state of Montana, and Amy is with the MHSA Association. And Jay, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your history and your officiating.
Well, thanks for giving us the opportunity to maybe recruit some new officials. We appreciate being on. But I've been doing it over 30 years. Started back when I was in high school doing some junior high things, grew up in Anaconda, and then in college refereed. It was always nice to have some pizza money and gas money, and then went into the coaching realm for a few years and quit officiating. And then when I moved to Billings in 1991, that's when I got serious about refereeing. And I do football and basketball and have been doing them, like I said, for a very long time. We have 11 different regions in the state, and I'm the regional director for Region 7, which is the Billings area. And I'm a liaison with the Montana High School Association, and basically take care of paperwork on our end to make sure that Amy's life isn't too difficult, and recognizing who gets credit for what they need to have done and whatnot, year-end reports. And then one of the less attractive parts of the position is we have to do some babysitting every now and then. If officials do things that they're not supposed to do, we have to take care of that too.
Okay, Amy, why don't you tell us what your role is there at MHSA?
Sure. Again, thanks for having us. It's great to see both Jay and I on here. It's nice to be able to talk about officials and appreciate all of his hard work. So thanks for having us. Here at the MHSA, I have been for the last 3 years the MOA coordinator and social media coordinator. I took on an assistant director position this year, which added in softball, soccer, speech and debate, and then also music. And I also work as the spirit liaison in the student advisory committee liaison for the state as well. So a lot of different roles this year and some really fun things to work with. But definitely, MOA is one of my bigger ones. So excited to be here and be able to talk about that.
Well, Amy, let's start with you. How does a young person that wants to get into officiating, do they have to contact the high school association? Is that how they go about that?
You know what? That's definitely one way they can contact us here. I can get them set up with how to register. We have a platform called Dragonfly. It's part of the NFHS Center of Officials, and we register through there. And then I will also get them set up with the local area, such as Jay's group in Billings, so that they can contact local assigners and start getting acquainted with what is what they do at the local level. So typically people call me and we get them going. We also have officials that go through the NFA as well, and they will contact me and say, hey, you have any official on your state, and we'll work from there as well. So.
All right, Amy, we're getting a little feedback. Is that from you, or is it...
Let's see if I can fix that.
I know Jay's not singing.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, didn't you?
Maybe it's you.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Maybe it's me then.
Maybe it's me then. Huh?
Well, I'm gonna drop us out of here for a second. I'll cut this out when I.
Okay.
We should be good.
Okay.
But I'll cut this stuff out before I post it. So
yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bit.
Do your best to make us look good, Bob.
Right.
It's going to be harder to make me look good than Amy, of course.
Oh,
yeah,
well, I don't know.
Well, let's get back at it. Jay, talk a little bit about what you can do and what other officials can do to reach out to some of these young people or older people to get them to help do some of this officiating.
Okay, so the 3 local high schools here in Billings, AA schools, they have a leadership coaching / officiating class that they offer. And we always have officials that will go into those classrooms and, answer any questions that the high school students have, give them an opportunity to sign up to come and referee some of our junior high games with some veteran officials if they're at all interested, just to kind of give them that taste of it to see. And then, of course, they get paid for it. And we've recruited some that way. We also go up onto the campuses of each college at Rocky and MSUB and talk to classes there. Coach Drykosen does an officiating class, and we try to recruit some of his students. And over at MSU Billings, it used to be Kevin Wooden, but now it's Jay Santee that does the class, and we'll go and talk to them. And it's always fun for us to just share stories and try to get new students interested. And what I've learned is we have to take volunteers. We can't take hostages. And if you have a friend and your friend doesn't really want to referee and you make them come to the meeting and whatnot, it generally doesn't work out unless it's kind of a self-motivated person. It's something that they want to do. But then once we get them involved, we absolutely try to put them on games that aren't as intense, and we put them in games with veteran officials so that they can learn the basics. But currently in football, we generally have all of our officials working varsity games on a Friday night just because we're so busy. And again, we put them in a game that we think they can manage, and then we're going to surround them with people that have experience. But it takes much less time in today's world to work your way up into varsity contests than when I started over 30 years ago.
Okay, Jay, one question for you. You as the head of that area, does each pool do their own scheduling, or do you do it as a regional guy?
No, it's each individual pool, and we work with the schools. Some schools go exclusively with the Warden pool, and some go exclusively with the Billings pool. But then there are other schools that say we want to use all of the area pools. And so we have the Crow pool in this area. We have the Billings, the Laurel pool, and the Warden pool. And that's evolved to, we cooperate much more now than we did when I first came to Billings. It was much more competitive for us to get games at all the different schools and everything. But we are so busy right now. Yesterday, the Warden pool asked us to cover a game on January 21st. We always give them AA games in Billings on days that we're busy and they have officials available. And it's an ongoing process, David. Right before this podcast, I got an email from an athletic director in a Class B school east of here. We need officials this Saturday. I happen to have 3. He said, we'll let them do both games. And so the schools are responsible for finding the officials, but they will coordinate that with each of the pools, and then each of the pools do their assignments. And we try to do it in a way that if you want more games and you're available for more games, you can do more games. And if you really don't need to work as many games, or you're busy with your life otherwise, you can set your availability. We have a computer program that we use that allows us to have people go in and set their calendars. And so that's how I knew we had 3 guys available this Saturday to go to Colstrip.
Okay. Amy, you got anything to add to that, Amy?
It's great to have our pools be able to assign, and they do a fantastic job. And I very rarely get calls that say, help, I need something from you, because they do such an awesome job working together. So it's refreshing for me to know that their games are getting covered and everything's getting handled, and I'll do whatever I can to help on the assignment side, but it's very rare I need to step in. So it's great.
All right, Amy, you mentioned before we went on air, you're starting to get ballots in for postseason play for basketball. Kind of explain to me, or not to me, but to everyone, about how those officials are nominated or picked.
Sure. Well, our officials each season, so we have 3 ratings. We have an apprentice, certified, and master officials. Master officials are eligible for postseason. They are officials that are in good standing, have completed all their requirements through the MOA, and have completed a certain amount of, or participated in, I should say, a certain amount of varsity games. They go on to a ballot that I send out to the schools, and the school coaches get to vote on those for both, whether it's district, divisional, or state. Some don't do districts, so double A wouldn't do districts. They vote on those, and they come back to us, and we compile them. And our new assistant director in basketball, Greta, she will go through and she'll start looking at those as we pick officials from particular areas. So there's a certain amount of officials that come out of each area, whether it's the 14C or, the 2B or something of that nature. And we pull from there and go down and pick the top officials that were voted on. So it's pretty easy process, but very lengthy for Greta, as there's a lot of tournaments that are going to start popping up here in February and March. And so she's got quite a bit of work ahead of her. And I do whatever I can to help her out, and we appreciate everyone getting those back into us so we can get our officials out there on the court for those postseason events.
Jay, a question for you, officials in postseason, how tough is that for some of those people to work those tournaments around their jobs?
That's kind of becoming more of an issue, and Jay might be able to touch on that because he's in that. He works with those officials, but I do get comments a lot about I can only work one day out of the 2, or I can work one weekend out of the month or something of that nature. So Jay will probably be able to help a little more with that one on the local level.
So as that's ebbed and flowed, as soon as we combine the boys and girls tournaments, we have to start earlier in the day. So if you're doing a district tournament and they're stacking the games and the boys are first and then the girls, some of them, because of the number of teams, it might be a commitment of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you're looking at possibly taking 4 afternoons off or maybe 4 days off of work. And that really does play into some of the officials being able to accept a tournament. So when Greta gets those votes counted and the top vote getters get offered the tournament, some of them may not be able to do that. And we also only allow officials to do 2 tournaments below the state level. And that's intentional on our part to get more people involved, to help us retain officials, have those opportunities. And so after the votes are counted, it might come down to a situation where anyone who is a top voter is going to get offered that tournament. And then if they, for some reason, can't do it because of their job or some other commitment, maybe they've got some college games or something, then it goes to the next highest vote getter. And if there's a tie or something like that, then the office will look at some ranking forms that we put in from our pool. So if it's 2 officials from my pool that are being offered the same tournament, tied, there's only room for 1 more, and there's 2 officials that have the same number of votes, they'll look at their rankings. And if the rankings are the same, then they might look at their previous experiences and things of that nature. So the process works, but it takes time. And then more recently, it seems as though officials have a more difficult time getting to some of those district tournaments so early in the day. And even some divisionals will start on Wednesday. When you have that Super A divisional here in Billings, you have to commit to taking time off of work if you normally work a 8 to 5 job.
Yeah, and this year the Class A and Class C state tournaments both start on Wednesday.
They do
this year. So,
Yep.
Jay, I don't know. Maybe this is for you, Amy. Whoever wants to answer this. The officials, when they get to the tournament site for the tournament, then they draw. How do you pick who does what games?
So,
I know how, but I want you to explain it.
It's a blind draw for the district and the divisional. So whoever the tournament manager is, they will draw numbers for each of the official. And so in our handbook, we have rotations set for the different tournament sizes, and whatever number is drawn for you, then that's your rotation in the tournament. So you don't know in districts and divisionals, when they send you the contract, the tournament manager will say you're number 1 or number 6 or number 4, and then so you know which games you're working in, who you're working with. For state tournaments, that happens at our opening meeting. We have a pre-tournament meeting with all the officials, and you draw your own number there. And so you don't know until the first day of the tournament that morning whether or not you're working the consolation championship or which semifinal game you have, or whether or not you've got the championship game. And it's fun for officials because everybody knows what the rotation is. They know what the different numbers are and which matchups they're going to have. And once the numbers are drawn, people are texting out, and just within the referee community, everybody's letting everybody else know who got what. And it's a big deal. And I think of this is Greta's first year being the director for basketball. And every time we get a new director, I think they're just shocked at how important those postseason tournaments are to the officials. And she's going to be busy, and her phone is going to be ringing off the wall, and she's going to be getting emails, and guys are really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done, tournaments now just, for the last 3 years, and the most exciting thing is the draw. The officials are super excited about it. You can see them switching spots at the table, like, where should I sit? Where should I go? What should I do? How is she going to do it? And so it's been really fun, and every single year it's different, and you get a great group of officials, and they're really excited for each other when someone gets the championship game or so forth. And they're all there watching, like they say, and they watch the whole entire tournament, and they help each other. It's a really great, community and experience. The atmosphere is just awesome at postseason basketball. So it's fun.
Okay, kind of one final one here. So you got your 12 officials for a tournament, say. I don't know how many you have for a double tournament anymore. But what happens if one of those officials can't make it? Say you find out Tuesday that he can't be there Wednesday. What do you do?
Yeah, so here at the office, what we'll do is we typically look and see who's available. If it's ahead of the tournament, we can work on getting another official in there, potentially from out of the area if we have to. Sometimes we'll try to look closer to the area, and then we've had it during the tournaments where an official gets hurt or something of that nature, and so we also have an alternate, and we'll try to work with that local pool and regional director to fill that spot as necessary from the local area as well. So that happens. I think every year we have something, kind of happen.
Generally.
Yeah, I know. I can remember one time back when I was coaching, I mean, we had that situation happen actually 2 years in a row, I think, at the state tournament. We found out that one of the officials, pulled a muscle or something on the divisional tournament and
Right.
couldn't make it. So, and I asked that question because I didn't really know how it was done, to be honest with you. So that's kind of why I asked that.
Sure.
So if somebody with votes, like she said, if there's time to get the person with votes that would be next in line, they get to go. But if it's in the middle of the tournament, if it's, Friday afternoon, you're going to look at somebody local that possibly had votes or is recommended from their pool leader.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, let's go ahead, Amy. You got something?
Nope, I'm all good. I appreciate it. Jay does a lot. The regional directors work a lot with us on that, and it's usually last minute, and we're running around and trying to figure something out, and they take it and they get it handled and figured out, and it's great to have them around, and they all attend tournaments as well if they're not officiating, so it's great to have them.
One more question for each one of you. Just not a question, but I just want you to kind of throw your thing out there. How do you retain officials today?
Jay, do you want to hit on this one first, and I'll kind of go?
We have to do a better job of that, Bob, because nationally they talk about within the first 3 years, we lose about 75% of our new officials. And if we can keep them to that fourth year, they have a chance of being a lifer like myself. And so how can we make it happen? What we try to do is make it so that it's easy for them to work as many games as they want without having to take something away from their life otherwise. And so our assigners consider that. And again, some people want to work whenever they're available, and other people are like, hey, I need to spend time on my business or with my family, or I'm physically not able to do more than 3 or 4 games a week. So it's a matter of keeping the lines of communication open with anybody that's new to find out what are your expectations? What do you want from this? I mean, are you looking to become a postseason tournament? Are you going to be here for the long haul? Or are you just coming because you want to get in a little workout every now and then, have the camaraderie of the other officials, and you know that we're hurting for officials and you just want to help out? So if we can kind of differentiate that, where we run into trouble is somebody agrees to work with us and then we're asking them to go too much. Very seldom do we get the complaint that they're not getting enough games. It's if they don't get enough time away from it. So we just have to manage that. We're working on making the pay better. Montana is right now probably in the lower average, but we've got some pay raises that are built in the next few years. We've done some studies on the states that are close to us and how they're paying officials, just to make it worth people coming. But the money isn't going to be it. It's having the relationships, making sure that people aren't feeling frustrated because their expectations are different than what we're aware of.
Yeah, and you know, to kind of go off of Jay, I see these numbers, how many officials, and we're gaining the officials every year. We're getting a lot more officials. I mean, this year we have 22 more officials than last year. And then I start that second year, third year, fourth year, see them starting to taper off a little bit, and they're typically the same age. And, you know, so we're also working with the National Federation as well as what can we do to retain officials and how can we get them interested in sports. Especially as we add baseball on it and asking for more people to come out and officiate. And they've been great, the Federation. We work with one particular woman there. Her name is Dana, and she is doing a great job at throwing stuff at us. Hey, Officials Appreciation Week, send stuff to your schools. You know, working best practices for officials and why we officiate and the passion behind the sports and what we need to do to help officials and thank them because they do spend a lot of time on the road away from their families. And doing a lot of extra just for all the kids out there. So we just want to keep them there, keep them available, and keep them excited about it. And our local pools, such as Jay's, you know, they do an awesome job really working with them and training them and getting them excited to be on the floor. And also as masters working with apprentices, you see that. And that's something a lot of our pools are doing is they're getting those long officials, those, you know, officials like Jay, and they're getting them out there with those kids to make it fun for them. So I appreciate the local pools and regional directors in the schools too, adding in training for officials and, you know, contacting me. And it's been fun to get on with, you know, schools and talk to kids and, you know, get them excited and see what they want to do and how they want to be involved in officiating. You know, we're getting a lot of interest. And so if we can just keep them there, it'd be, you know, I'll be doing my job. So I appreciate everyone out there.
Well, I want to thank both of you for coming on today. I appreciate it, for taking time out of your day, and hopefully we can get the word out to get some more good young people in here that will last well, maybe not as long as Jay, but you know,
even half
get
that,
in there for
right?
a while.
Well, we appreciate you, Bob. Like I said, just giving us a chance to use your platform to maybe recruit some new people that might be interested.
Yep, I'm always available. You know, you can always call the office and ask for me. We are getting better on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. I run a lot of that, so it's nice, and I'll do official stuff on there as well. Or, you know, if you know, you're out at a contest and, you know, you can find me, come and find me, and I'll get you going, and we'll get you set up and get you ready to go. So get you excited about it. So we appreciate it, Bob. Thanks for letting us come on today.
Yep.